Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to take a look at the Utopia support coming out in Lightning Overdrive, as well as the additional support after that for the support that's coming out in Animation Chronicles, which is probably going to be our next Battle of Legends. But why did I decide to basically out of the blue make up a Utopia video support, even though it's been, a while since that support revealed, as well as like the Animation Chronicles revealed? Well, the reason for that is because of the fact that we are supposed to get Lightning Overdrive in about a month, and because of that I thought it would be really nice to do some, reviews, kind of like archetypes that leading to that particular set's release, so you will get a little bit of an idea on the big stuff. What do you want to pick up and what do you don't want to pick up? So we're going to start things with the Utopia stuff, and then we're going to do the rest of the stuff. Like I said, we're going to start with Lightning Overdrive supports first, and then go over the Animation Chronicles stuff, so we will not get confused with cards that are not released in Lightning Overdrive. But before we jump right into the video itself, I want to say all of you, thank you so much for the 2,500 subscribers. We finally reached that goal, and actually a lot more quicker than I thought we will. Basically like about 2 to 3 weeks early from what it shows in Social Blade. But yeah, I want to say to you all so much thank you. I am working on the 2,500 pilot release for the new series still. It is going to take a little bit of while because they still need a little bit editing, but it should come out very soon, hopefully. And if you're new to the channel as well, please consider hitting yourself the subscribe button if you haven't, because yeah, I really appreciate every single one of you, and these things, little things, just really helps me to want to make more, and little by little we're getting bigger and getting better, and I really appreciate every and single one of you, and thank you for sticking with me that far. But after this sizable intro, let's jump right into the review itself. And to start things off, like I said, starting the Lightning Overdrive stuff, we're going to start things with Zexal weapon Pegasus Twin Saber. Now this one is a new Zexal weapon from the main deck, and just like most of the good Zexal weapons, it's a level 5. However, this one, while currently it's a very good card in its effect, which we'll get to in a second, I'm going to give, for the Lightning Overdrive support, I'm going to give this one 2 stars. I'm going to give it basically 2 star ratings, because it's a card that right now is a 2-star, but once we get the Animation Chronicles support, it's going to give 4 stars, because it's a really good card for its effect, which is basically it's giving your Utopia 1,000 attack, as well as a monster negate when your opponent once per turn activate a monster effect on the field, which is pretty cool. But the way to basically summon this card and equip it to your Utopia is pretty bad, because it's required you that your opponent will have 2,000 attack life points more than you to special summon it, and it can only equip itself from the Utopia from the field, making this card very hard to equip. And that's why initially it's a 2-star card, because in Lightning Overdrive there's really not a very good way to equip it. However, in the Animation Chronicles, we got a card which we'll get to in the end that basically make this card a 4 stars. So I'm going to, like I said again, I'm going to give it double rating, which is right now it's a 2 stars, then in the future it's going to be a 4 star. This is the only card that is different like that, because it just, a card that because it's from the field, equip is really bad, and the fact that it's depending on your opponent having 2,000 more life points than you is not that good. It maybe sound easy to do, but it's not as easy as you might think. So the equip effect is pretty good. The the size attack boost is pretty nice, but the fact that you have to do that with his effect of 2,000 life points than you is very bad. But like I said, the Animation Chronicles definitely fixed that because of a new card that's going to come out there that basically equipped this from the deck. So that's why, again, I'm going to end this. I know I've been saying this multiple times, but right now it's a 2-star card, in the future it's going to be a 4-star card. This is the only card I'm going to rumble so much about this, because it's the only card that's going to very much change in the future. But for the next card, which is the Zexal Servant Arm Sage, this card is pretty simple. If you control a level 4 monster except itself and no other monsters, you're going to have the ability to special summon this card out of your hand, and then a Utopia exists monsters that use this card as an effect, as a material, get the following effect to basically add to your hand when it exceeds summoned a Zexal weapon monster to your hand, which is a very good. 5 stars, by the way. This is an extender that just requires you to control level 4, which is not that hard, and it is pretty much work with a particular engine from the list that I'm going to show you at the end, which works really well. And it just, like, you normal summon this, special summon this after you control another level 4, and you're getting a search for zexal weapons, so you can search something like Lightning Blade or Tornado Bringer, which are two very, very good cards to search, which is very, very cool. So, 5-star card, very simple. It's an extender, it's a searcher, very simple on that one. His other counterpart, which is the blue one, Zexal Servant Ascended Sage. This one is a little bit worse because of the fact that it's requiring you to control no cards. It doesn't say no monsters, just no cards. Then you can special summon this from out of your hand, and then an Xyz Utopia monster that uses this, like, you know, as Xyz material, get the effect to search a rank up magic normal spell from your deck to your hand, which is cool. It just, the problem is that there's not really a whole lot of rank up magic normal spells that you run. There is one, which is the zexal rank up magic spell that you're going to run, maybe an additional one more, but mostly this is what you're going to do. The fact is that it can special summon itself definitely from the hand if you control no cards is still very, very powerful. I'm not denying that, and it's pretty cool because these two basically doesn't really require your normal summon, so you can still do your things and they don't lock you to anything. But I definitely think that it's worse than Arms, because Arms can basically search a zexal weapon, which is a little bit better than searching a rank up spell. So 4 stars for this one, still very, very good. I think that Sage, or seriously Arms, is definitely better than Ascendant. But still a very, very good card. Then we're moving right into the extra deck because we got only 3 monsters from Lightning Overdrive, and for the first one we got Dragonic Utopia Ray. And Dragonic Utopia Ray is a 2-star card because of 2 particular reasons. The first effect for him is that only when he's targeted for an attack or by opponent card effect, as a hard one, as a quick effect, basically, you're able to kind of equip a zexal weapon from your deck and hand to it as it was equipped by its own effect. Oh my god, this is really, really powerful. No, it's not. You have to basically depend on your opponent to equip, which is very, very bad. That's the first reason why. And the second reason is, while its effect is pretty good, the second one that basically once per turn you get to detach your Xyz material from this, and then basically negate your opponent card on the field up to the number of zexal weapons equipped to it, is pretty cool. The problem is that it's not a quick effect. I get the fact that this card is supposed to be offensive, and it does count as Utopia number C39 Utopia Ray, which is pretty cool for all of these applications, but it's definitely not the perfect boss monsters that we need for the archetype. It's a card that I do still run out of respect and maybe for seeing if it's better, but it's definitely not the best thing in the world. It's definitely the first card that I'm always going to try to cut because, like I said, the equip effect, like effect that he has is pretty not that good, and the fact that it's just not depending on your zexal weapons as a whole, but only the ones that are equipped to it, and it's not a quick effect for a secondary effect, just making this card a little bit short from being good. But it's still okay, it's not horrendous. For now, it's a good placeholder, and it still works for the overall idea of what the deck tries to do, at least right now. But in the future, when we get the Animation Chronicle support, this one is definitely going to be tossed to the side because the other one is a little bit better. Then for the other and last Xyz monster from the Lightning Overdrive support, we got Zexal Weapon Draconic Halberd. And this one is pretty simple. It's worked exactly like Leo, which is the old Zexal weapon, only this one search a Zexal spell and traps instead of a Zexal weapon. It does have the same effect to equip itself by, you know, giving your Utopia monster a 3000 attack, but instead of just when you attack you do something, I don't remember what it does, this one, if your opponent destroy a monster by battle, you're able to kind of just summon all of these Zexal equips that it has currently to your side of the field. Still 2 stars on this card. Very, very cool card, very, very interesting. The ability to search any Zexal spell or trap that you want to is really powerful, but it's a rank 5, 1. 2, its equip effect is not the best thing in the world, and 3, your monster does depend on destroying by battle than anything else. And mostly if I am going to summon a rank 5 Zexal weapon, I'm not gonna lie, I prefer Leo because it can search the Zexal weapons that you care about more. Like, the Zexal spells and traps are not bad, it just, these are more of like extender spells and traps, which we'll get to them in a second. But this one is not terrible, again, it just, I don't think it's good as it is right now, and unfortunately, the 2 Xyz monsters were very, very disappointing. But the spells and traps department, or should I say at least the spell departments from Lightning Overdrive support, is actually pretty good. And we're going to start with Rank Up Magic Zexal Force. And Rank Up Magic Zexal Force is just a rank up spell for any monster you control that you can basically rank it up to be one rank up higher for a Utopia / Zexal weapon monster that you can rank up into, and yada yada, transfer Xyz materials. But on top of that, the effect that it says before you rank up is that you can put any Zexal weapon or Zexal Sage on the top of your deck, and then basically the point is that you can use the Graveyard effect, that if your opponent have 2,000 or more life points than you, that you can just banish this card from the graveyard and then draw a card. Pretty cool to stack the effect. Still works with Utopic Tactics or whatever, the continuous spell that every time you summon a Utopia you pay 500 and draw a card. Very good for that. It just, how should I say this? Getting once again your opponent to be 2,000 life points more than you is not as easy as you might think. Still a very, very good way to get into your big Utopias if you don't go into the Utopia Double, which is a little bit more preferred because Utopia Double doesn't really require you to search anything, you just go into the extra deck. But still, it's a very, very nice alternative route. 3 stars for this one. Very, very good card, just to be as a good one-off for the deck. And the card that you definitely use in the grind game. It's just not the most powerful thing in the world, but it's still very, very nice. Then for the best spell out of all of them, Zexal Construction. 5 stars. This one you reveal a card in your hand as a cost, and then you can add to either Zexal Weapon, Zexal Servant, Zexal Spell or Trap, Rank Up Magic Spell, or Rank Down Magic Spell from your hand, from your deck to your hand, and then you put the revealed card from your hand into the bottom of the deck. Why this card is 5 stars? Some people might say, it's not really such a good of a search if it's put something that you revealed into the deck. Well, it's actually really good because there are a lot of cards that you can draw that you don't want to draw. You have Double or Nothing, you have the Zexal rank up spell if you only play one, so you don't want to draw it if you have Ascended Sage in your hand. You have a lot of other things that you don't want to run, so the ability to put any of them back into the bottom of your, shuffle them back into your deck is really cool. I do think it should have also added draw a card when you do that afterwards, but it's still very, very nice. The requirements are to reveal a card, this is the cost, so the card is very, very powerful and definitely a free off in the deck. And then for the last spell, Zexal Entrust. This one is just a monster reborn or add back to your hand a Utopia, Zexal Servant, or a Zexal Weapon back to your hand, or special summon it, which is pretty cool. It's an in-theme monster reborn, which is pretty nice. And then it's also have the effect, once again, that if your opponent have 2,000 or more life points than you, except the turn it was sent to the graveyard, you get to add 1 Zexal spell or trap back to your hand, which is pretty nice for recovery, so I'm going to give this one 3 stars. Definitely a very, very nice one-off, but just like I said, it's just a one-off. It's not super amazing, but it's still a very, very nice Monster Reborn-like card. And then for the last Lightning Overdrive support card, we got Zexal Alliance. Now this one is absolute trash 1 star because this one depends on your opponent way too much. It's depending on your opponent that to destroy a face-up or a battle by card effect, destroy an Xyz monster you control, and then you pay life points until you only have 50 left, and then you summon a Utopia monster out of the graveyard and then double its attack, and then basically you put any card that you want from your deck, any monster, to the top of your deck, which is kind of like, oh, I can put any Zexal weapon I want to. For, the shining draw, whatever that thing that was in the anime. The reason why I'm saying this card is 1 star is because of one reason only. It's dependent on your opponent. It doesn't stop your opponent if they have an access code to destroy your Xyz monster, triggering this, bringing you down to 50 life points, and then they can basically still activate the effect of access code to pop again, although I do not think that access code will trigger the effect because I think the effect says that it cannot activate in response to this card activation, but whatever. Point is, this card is bad, your opponent can proc this and still destroy the monster afterwards, and then basically just kill you for just poking you for even 100 damage and you're dead. Paying until you have 50 life points left is really not worth it, and it's not a risk that I recommend for you to take. This card is probably the worst, and it's just basically just a placeholder, or should I say, a pack filler, as I like to say it. But that's pretty much does it for the Lightning Overdrive support. These are the 9 cards. This is what I think about them. And now we're going to jump pretty quickly for the Animation Chronicle / Future Battle of Legends support that currently is revealed. And the first one is Zexal Weapon Splendid Wings. And Splendid Wings is basically equipped to your Utopia, give it 800 attack, and then once per turn, if your opponent special summon a monster or by an activated effect, you have the equipped monster gets 1600 additional attack. Wow, additional attack boost up to 2400 for your monsters. Great. 1 star. This card is not good. It's pretty garbage. It's really, really not that good to have this kind of an effect. If you want to, you can still run this at 1. It's not the worst out of this lineup of support. Definitely the next card is worse, but I still think this is like not worth it to run. There's better zexal weapons, and this one just doesn't really do enough. Then Zexal Servant Ouroboros Sage. Now this card is pretty bad because it's requiring you to be, when it's normal summoned, it's basically a card that just requires you to have enough, Exceeds monsters. It's more of like a late game card, and it's requiring you to have a number of monsters that is not Utopia to then equip a Utopia and a number to it. It's kind of like a weird effect, again, kind of like Zexal Alliance. It's kind of like leading up for a big one punch, I guess. But again, it's kind of not good. 1 star again. I'm not really going to read the whole effect because it's just really not worth it. And you can read it to yourself. Just do understand, this card is not good. It's not worth it. Trust me, especially if it sacrifices your normal summon. Then, for the last monster for the Animation Chronicles, which is Leo Utopia Ray, this is the card that I mentioned before that make Unicorn Twin Saber, I think the name is, the Zexal weapon from the start. Really, really good. This one is the best monster for Utopia at the moment for the extra deck, because this one allowing you to basically, as once per turn, detach an exceed material and then equip from your deck or extra deck any Zexal weapon that you want to, as it was basically equipped by its own effect. And then the effect is that if it's equipped with a Zexal weapon as a quick effect, it can target one monster your opponent controls and basically negates its effect and half its attack. Really, really good. 5 stars. This card is a very, very good boss monster. I don't really have to say anything about it. You summon 2 level 4s, you summon Utopia double, you use Utopia double, you go into this, you equip the saber, the twin saber, and then you get 2 interruptions on 1 monster, because saber has the effect when an effect activated on the field, and this one can negate regardless. Very, very good card. 5 stars. I'm just going to say that. Then for Zexal Catapult, which is the last card, 2 stars. It's not a bad card because it's allowing you to summon a Zexal weapon or a Zexal servant from your hand, and then if you control a Utopia monster, you can change level of all monsters you can currently control to 4 on 5, which is okay, but mostly if the effect is as good as the effect that in the graveyard, that you can banish this from the graveyard and a Zexal weapon or Zexal servant, and then target 1 card your opponent control and destroy it. This card is not terrible, like I said, it's just the fact that it's just not really doing enough. Like, the special summoning from hand is pretty nice, but there's really nothing to do about it. Still, not the most horrendous card from this support, but like I said, Leo Utopia is amazing, and it's probably the best card from this support. But that's pretty much does it for the review itself. All the 13 cards. It's probably a lot to talk about, yes, I know. But yeah, Utopia got a very, very nice support. It's definitely far from being excellent, but, the Leo Utopia definitely made the support a lot better from Lightning Overdrive, especially turning the cards that were good into even better. So, yeah, I think this archetype is very, very cool. I'm probably not going to pick them myself because I don't really like Utopia as a whole to pick them physically. But here's a list for you anyway, so you can enjoy yourself. I basically combined Utopia with Invoked. I thought they're working really, really well. Alistair is just a good engine for you, and that you don't really depend on your normal summon that much with the Sages. You just sometimes even just normal summon Alistair, follow up with Arms Sage, and then do your normal combo, which basically bring you down at the end. Leo Utopia equipped with Lightning Blade and Twin Saber Pegasus or whatever that is, as well as a Mechaba and Double or Nothing in hand, and Alistair the Invoker back in hand as well. So yeah, it's pretty easy to do. It's very, very good. Definitely need some tweaks for this list, but I think it's a good start. And yeah, I think the new support is great. Overall, for Lightning Overdrive, definitely getting better because of Leo from the Animation Chronicles / Battle of Legends, probably for us. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it's kind of giving you a little bit of an insight. I know it was a little bit of a long one, but there's a little bit to talk with a lot of cards text. And like you know me, I like to bring as much knowledge as possible. But that's pretty much it for the video. Hope you enjoyed once again. If you did, please consider hitting the subscribe button. We're going to start following off probably with next week with Amazement, but we'll see about that. And I will decide what I want to go with. But yeah, that's pretty much it for the video. So see you in the next one. Bye-bye.